Along the winding currents of the Whispering River lived two young otters, Puku and Pyuki. They were siblings, bright-eyed and full of life. Their sleek, glistening fur always ready for a new adventure. But despite their shared home and similar appearance, their approaches to life couldn't have been more different. Pyuki, with her boundless energy, was a creature of immediate action. If she saw a glint in the water, she dove in head first. A flurry of splashes and enthusiastic snorts. If she felt a tug of hunger, she'd frantically search every crevice and under every stone. Convinced the fastest method was the best, she was spirited, quick, and often a little impulsive. Puku, on the other hand, was the quieter, more observant of the two. He moved with a thoughtful grace, his eyes scanning the riverbank and the water's surface with a calm intensity. Before diving, he'd watch the subtle eddies, the play of shadows, the direction of the wind. When he sought food, he did so with a methodical patience, often finding the richest patches that Pyuki had overlooked in her haste. One crisp autumn morning, the river was particularly bountiful, yet also cunning. The fish were plentiful but darted quickly beneath fallen leaves and submerged logs. "Look, Puku," Pyuki squeaked, already halfway into the water, her paws churning. "A whole school. I'll catch them all." She plunged in, chasing after a flash of silver, darting left and right, emerging moments later with nothing but a few leaves tangled in her whiskers. She tried again, and again, growing increasingly frustrated. "This river is impossible today," she grumbled, shaking droplets from her fur. Puku, meanwhile, had been watching a still, deep pool where a cluster of reeds grew. He saw a pattern in the way the current pushed a particular kind of insect towards the reeds, and knew the larger fish would gather there. He slipped into the water almost silently, his movements fluid and unhurried. He waited, his body perfectly still, for the precise moment. With one swift, powerful lunge, he emerged with a plump, shimmering trout firmly in his jaws. Pyuki watched, eyes wide. "How did you do that, Puku?" "I chased them everywhere." Quote. Puku gently placed his catch on the bank. "The river, Pyuki," he began. "It doesn't always reward the fastest sometimes. It rewards the one who listens, who watches, and who waits for the right moment." The fish were there, yes, but they were also teaching us how to catch them. Pyuki pondered this. It went against everything her energetic nature told her. But Puku always seemed to catch more fish, and often with less effort. Slowly, she began to change. She still had her bursts of energy, but she started to observe. She watched Puku. She watched the water. She learned to read the river's silent cues. Her dives became more purposeful, her searches more targeted. She still made mistakes, still came up empty-pawed. But now, instead of frustration, there was a flicker of understanding. Each failed attempt became a lesson, not just a disappointment. Then came the harshest winter the Whispering River had seen in years. The river iced over in many places, and food became scarce. The younger, less experienced otters struggled. Pyuki, for all her newfound patience, felt a familiar pang of panic. Her instincts screamed to just do something, anything. But then she remembered Puku's voice. "The river teaches those who listen." She remembered how Puku always seemed to know which patches of ice were thinnest, which hidden nooks might shelter a frozen clam. She remembered her own hard-won lessons about observing the current, even when it was barely moving beneath the ice. This time, it was Pyuki who found a small, unfrozen spring bubbling up from the riverbed, warmed by an underground current, a place Puku had taught her to look for in times of drought. But she'd dismissed it as too much effort before. It was small, but it held a few desperate, hiding fish, and it was Puku, with his careful assessment, who devised a way for them to break through the thicker ice just enough to reach the spring safely. Without falling in, they worked together, their individual strengths complementing each other perfectly. Pyuki's renewed energy and daring allowed her to scout for hidden opportunities, while Puku's calm foresight and deep knowledge of the river allowed them to make wise, safe choices. They survived the winter, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more bonded than ever. The lesson: life, much like the Whispering River, is full of currents. Sometimes it demands swift, decisive action like Pyuki's initial eagerness. Other times, it requires the patient observation and strategic waiting of Puku. Pyuki's journey teaches us. It's okay to be enthusiastic and dive in. But true growth comes from learning to temper that enthusiasm with wisdom. Mistakes are not failures, but direct lessons from life itself, guiding us to refine our approach. Puku's journey teaches us. Patience is not passivity. It's a profound form of wisdom. Observation allows us to see beyond the obvious, revealing deeper truths in more effective paths. And true strength often lies in quiet perseverance and the willingness to guide without judgment. In the end, Puku and Pyuki understood that neither approach was superior on its own. Life teaches us that the greatest strength lies in the ability to adapt, to learn from our own experiences and those of others, and to blend impulsivity with wisdom, action with reflection. It is in the harmonious balance of these forces that we truly thrive, navigating every twist and turn the river of life throws our way.